Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we really try to cut through all the noise and deliver the science-backed insights you need to be genuinely well-informed.
That's the goal.
And today, we're tackling something so many people aim for: building muscle, getting stronger. You see it everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Fitness goals, movie stars.
Oh, yeah, it's a constant theme.
But for a lot of folks, it feels like this, mysterious journey. Really difficult, lots of conflicting advice out there.
And that's exactly why we're diving in today. Our mission here is simple. Give you a clear path, like a shortcut, to understanding the real science, the practical steps for effective muscle growth.
Right.
We want to sift through that confusing chatter, debunk some common myths, and give you a motivating, actually actionable guide. Build muscle safely, efficiently.
Okay, and where are we pulling our insights from for this deep dive?
We've got a great stack today. Leading fitness experts, some cutting-edge scientific papers, and guidelines from trusted health organizations. But the focus is always on practical application.
Stuff you can actually use.
Exactly. Information you can take away and use right now.
So what's the plan? How are we breaking this down?
We're looking at 5 core pillars. First, smart training strategies, the blueprint. Then, optimal nutrition, the fuel. After that, supplements, what really works, and importantly, what doesn't.
Good one.
Then the huge role of recovery. And finally, lifestyle habits, the glue that holds it all together. And we'll be giving specific numbers, real-world examples, things you can actually implement.
Sounds perfect. Let's get started. So, you've decided, right, I want to build muscle. You go to the gym, you lift weights. But is it smart training? That's the question.
Yeah, because just, lifting heavy things isn't really the full picture, is it?
Not quite enough.
Yeah.
So this first pillar, the smart workout blueprint. This is where we unlock that secret to continuous growth, making sure every single rep counts.
Right. And it starts with the principle most lifters kind of know, but maybe don't fully appreciate the why behind progressive overload.
Doing more over time.
Yeah.
Sounds simple.
It sounds simple, but understanding why it works is what makes a program truly effective. It's all about how your body responds to stress. Your muscles simply won't grow if you don't continually challenge them.
They adapt, right?
Exactly. Your body is incredibly adaptable. You lift a weight, muscles get stronger to handle it, but then they reach a new normal, a new equilibrium.
Plateau city.
Pretty much. To keep growing, they need new, increasing demands. If you keep doing the same sets, same reps, same weights, week after week, your body's already adjusted. No new muscle.
So it's like your body just gets efficient at what it's already doing. It needs a reason to change.
Precisely. And this stuff is into something called the General Adaptation Syndrome, or GAS. It basically explains how your body responds to stressors. If the stressor, the weights, the exercises, doesn't progressively increase.
You stagnate.
You hit that plateau. The workout that built your current strength won't build new strength. You have to push beyond that comfort zone. Safely, strategically, of course.
Okay, so progressive overload is the foundation. That leads us to intensity and volume, right? Finding that Goldilocks zone.
Exactly. The sweet spot. Intensity, first, that's basically how heavy you lift. We usually talk about it as a percentage of your 1 repetition maximum, your 1 RM.
So if my max squat is 100 kilos?
Then 75% of your 1 RM would be 75 kilos. Simple as that.
Okay, so what is the sweet spot intensity for hypertrophy, for actual muscle growth? Because lots of people think heavier is always better. Max out every time.
Yeah, that's a common thought, but not quite right for pure muscle size. The research points towards moderate loads. Specifically, think 67-85% of your 1 RM.
67 to 85%. Why that range?
It's about hitting the optimal combination of 2 key growth triggers: mechanical tension and metabolic stress.
Okay, break those down.
Mechanical tension is the force your muscles generate against the resistance. Absolute vital. Think sheer effort. Metabolic stress is that buildup of stuff like lactate during intense work, that burn you feel, that also signals growth.
So lifting really heavy, like above 85% of 1 RM, might be great for pure strength, but maybe not optimal for size.
Exactly. Lifting super heavy, say for 6 reps or fewer, gives you fantastic mechanical tension, but you often don't get enough time under tension or enough metabolite buildup for that metabolic stress component needed for maximum hypertrophy.
And lifting too light, lots of reps.
The opposite problem. You get tons of metabolic stress, that burn, but you might lack the sheer force needed to recruit the high threshold motor units. Those are the muscle fibers with the most growth potential, so it's really about finding that balance.
That 67-85% range makes sense. Okay, that's intensity, the weight. What about volume? How much total work are we talking?
Volume is the other crucial piece. It's the total work. Sets times reps times load for each exercise. And here's a key insight. Weekly training volume seems to matter more for muscle gain than just looking at a single day's volume.
Interesting. So what's a good target for weekly volume?
For someone who's already trained, a good minimum target is around 10 weekly sets per major muscle group.
10 sets per muscle group per week.
Okay. And a really practical rule of thumb. Don't jump your total weekly sets up too quickly. Aim for no more than about a 20% increase per month of training.
Slow and steady progression. Avoids overdoing it.
Exactly. It prevents overtraining, allows for gradual adaptation, sustainable gains.
Okay, those are great practical numbers. So we've got weight and total work. What about the way we lift? Rep ranges, tempo, making every rep count.
Absolutely critical. For reps, that sweet spot for growth tends to be 6-12 repetitions done for multiple sets.
The classic hypertrophy range.
It is, but it's not just the number. The rhythm of the lift, the tempo is huge. You need to control both the lifting phase and, maybe even more importantly, the lowering phase.
So no just letting gravity do the work on the way down.
Definitely not. For the concentric, the lift itself, aim for a controlled 1 to 3 seconds. But for the eccentric, the lowering or negative part, slow down. Think 2 to 4 seconds.
Why is focusing on that negative so important?
That's where a lot of the magic happens for hypertrophy. Controlling the negative maximizes tension on the target muscle throughout the entire range of motion. It also stops you from, cheating, using momentum or other muscles. It ensures the target muscle is doing the work.
Amplifies the growth signal.
Massively.
Okay. And speaking of control and time, rest between sets. Is it just about catching your breath, or is there more to it?
Oh, it's much more than just catching your breath. Adequate rest is crucial for maintaining the quality of your training, your intensity, and your overall volume throughout the workout.
How so?
If you skimp on rest, you won't be fully recovered for the next set. Your performance drops. You end up lifting less weight or doing fewer reps. This directly reduces your overall volume and intensity, the very things driving growth.
So how long should we rest? Does it differ?
It does. For big multi-joint exercises, think squats, deadlifts, bench presses, you need more recovery. Take a minimum of 2 minutes between sets.
2 minutes minimum for the big lifts.
Yep. For smaller single-joint exercises like bicep curls, tricep pushdowns, you can generally get away with less. Around 60-90 seconds is usually sufficient.
Why the difference?
The bigger compound lifts recruit more muscle mass, tax your nervous system more heavily, and require more energy system recovery. The smaller isolation moves don't demand quite as much overall recovery between efforts.
You mentioned something earlier, the quasi-cardio trap. What happens if you rest too little?
Yeah, that's a great point. Resting too little essentially turns your weightlifting session into something more like a cardio workout, which is fine if that's your goal, but it's not ideal for building maximal muscle.
Why not?
Because your primary energy systems for heavy lifting, the phosphagen system, the anaerobic systems, they need time to recharge between sets. If you don't give them that time, you simply can't produce the force needed for those heavier growth-stimulating reps. You end up limited by your cardiovascular system, not your muscular strength.
Hindering growth. Got it. Okay, that's a really practical tip. Now, structuring the week. Training frequency splits. How often should you actually be in the gym? And how do you organize those workouts?
For most people wanting to build muscle, hitting the gym for strength training 4 to 6 days a week seems to be a realistic and effective range. This allows for enough training stimulus, but also crucial rest and recovery.
So going every single day or for hours and hours isn't necessarily better.
Definitely not. In fact, it's often counterproductive. It can easily lead to overtraining, increased risk of injury, or just plain burnout. And burnout stops progress dead in its tracks.
Quality over quantity then.
Yeah.
And smart distribution. That's where workout splits come in.
Exactly. A workout split is just a way to organize your training week. It ensures you hit all your major muscle groups effectively, while also allowing for that essential recovery and enabling progressive overload.
What are some common effective splits people use?
There are several popular ones. Full body. Great for beginners or if you're short on time. You train 2-3 days a week, hitting all major muscle groups each session.
Cool.
Push, pull, legs, PPL. Very common, very efficient, especially for intermediate lifters, often done 3 or 6 days a week. 1 day for pushing moves, chest, shoulders, triceps, another for pulling back, biceps, and a third for legs, quads, hammies, glutes, calves.
Allows good focus and recovery between hitting the same groups.
Precisely. Upper-lower split, another really popular one. You alternate days focusing on upper body muscles and lower body muscles. This can be done anywhere from 2 to 6 days a week, depending on your schedule and recovery.
Flexible.
Very. And then there's the body part split. Think classic bodybuilding style, chest day, back day, leg day, etc. Or maybe chest and biceps, quads and glutes.
Is that good for hypertrophy?
They can be excellent for hypertrophy, yeah. It allows you to really focus significant volume on specific muscle groups, often using more isolation exercises. You could even use this to train priority muscles like glutes or arms, maybe 2 or even 3 times a week if recovery allows.
Lots of options there. It sounds like finding one you like and sticking with it is important.
Yeah.
You mentioned consistency. What's the biggest mental block people hit with sticking to a program? That constant program sampling you see online.
Oh, that's a huge one. It's the allure of the new shiny object. You see influencers posting new workouts constantly, and it's tempting to jump around thinking this is the secret sauce.
But it hinders progress.
It really does. Your neuromuscular system, your brain-muscle connection needs time to adapt to specific movements and stresses to actually achieve progressive overload. Constantly switching programs doesn't allow for that adaptation.
So what's the practical tip?
Find a program you genuinely enjoy, that's key, and commit to it. Give it a real shot, at least 4 to 8 weeks, maybe longer. Trust the process. Consistency with a decent program beats inconsistency with a perfect one every time.
Powerful advice. Okay, let's talk exercise selection and form. Building a balanced physique. And yeah, that no skipping leg day thing. That's not just a joke, is it?
Haha. No, it's definitely not just a joke. It's fundamental for a balanced, functional, and aesthetically pleasing physique. Your program needs variety. Include free weights, machines, single-joint exercises, multi-joint exercises.
The mix. Free weights versus machines.
Free weights, barbells, dumbbells, they build crucial stabilizer strength and coordination. Machines can help you isolate specific muscles, often allowing you to apply more tension safely, especially when fatigued. Both have their place.
Should we prioritize certain types of exercises for overall effectiveness?
Absolutely. Focus heavily on compound movements. These are your big lifts. Squats, deadlifts, bench presses, overhead presses, rows, pull-ups, even things like planks.
Why compound?
Because they work multiple muscle groups and joints simultaneously. They give you the most bang for your buck in terms of muscle activation, overall strength development, and even hormonal response.
And how you do them matters. Full range of motion.
Crucial. Always aim to work your muscles through their full available range of motion. Partial reps have their place sometimes, maybe, but full range is generally best for stimulating the most muscle fibers and getting the best hypertrophic response.
And balance. Back to leg day.
Yes. While you might want to target specific areas for more growth, you must work your entire body to avoid muscular imbalances. These can lead to postural problems, injury risk, and, well, just looking kind of weird. So no, don't skip leg day, or back day, or any day.
Okay, message received. What about training to failure? Pushing until you absolutely cannot do another rep. Should we do that on every set?
Training to muscular failure can be a potent stimulus for hypertrophy, no doubt about it. But it's also very taxing on your body, particularly your nervous system.
So high reward, high risk.
Sort of. It carries risks of burnout, overtraining if done too often, and potentially increases injury risk if form breaks down. So the key is to use it judiciously. Don't go to failure on every single set of every exercise. Maybe limit it to the final set of an exercise, especially isolation moves, or perhaps incorporate it periodically during specific overreaching phases in your training plan, followed by recovery. It's a tool, not a default setting.
That makes sense. And what about deloads? Taking a planned step back, that sounds counterintuitive if you're trying to build.
It can feel that way, but trust me, don't fear the deload. A deload is just a pre-planned short-term reduction in training volume and or intensity. Maybe cutting sets, reps, or weight by roughly 50% for a week.
But won't I lose my gains?
That's the common fear, but the research is really reassuring here. Studies show that trained individuals can maintain their strength and muscle size for at least 2 weeks with 0 workouts.
Wow, okay.
So a 1-week deload where you're still training, just less intensely, it won't undo your progress. What it does do is allow accumulated fatigue, physical and mental, to dissipate. It helps your joints recover, reduces injury risk, and lets you come back stronger and more motivated for your next training block.
So it's a strategic pause to enable future progress.
Exactly. Think of it as sharpening the axe. It's a crucial part of long-term sustainable training.
That's a great perspective. Okay, before we move off training, let's quickly recap some common pitfalls. What are the big mistakes people make that sabotage their muscle building efforts?
Number 1, probably. Lifting weights that are simply too light. If muscle building is the goal, you need sufficient challenge. Gradually increasing the weight is key.
Okay, what else?
Lifting too fast, especially rushing the negative, the lowering part. This often leads to poor form, potential injury, and reduces the time under tension, which is crucial for growth. Pace yourself. control the weight.
Right, that tempo thing again.
Yep. Then there's overtraining. More is not always better. Pushing too hard, too often, without enough rest prevents recovery and kills progress. Listen to your body.
And finally,
Working on limited areas. The classic beach muscles focus just arms, chest, shoulders. Leads to an unbalanced look and potential functional issues down the line. Train everything.
an incredibly thorough blueprint for smart training. Strategy, consistency, control, all paramount. All right, let's shift gears to our second pillar, nutrition, fueling those gains. Because as they say, you can't out-train a bad diet, right?
Yeah.
Especially for muscle growth.
That's absolutely right. You can have the perfect training program, but if your nutrition isn't supporting it, you're essentially building a house without enough bricks and mortar.
So what's the very first rule, the most common mistake people make nutritionally when trying to build muscle?
It's surprisingly simple, but so often overlooked. Not eating enough calories. Period.
Just not enough fuel in the tank.
Exactly. You must be in a positive energy balance, consuming more calories than you burn to provide the raw materials and the energy needed for muscle tissue repair and growth. Training breaks muscle down, calories and nutrients build it back up, bigger and stronger. Undereating is probably the single biggest saboteur of muscle gain.
But hang on, a lot of people trying to get fitter or healthier instinctively shy away from more calories. They fear fat gain. How does that common fear mess things up?
It's a huge mental hurdle. People associate calorie surplus only with fat gain, but muscle tissue itself is metabolically active. Building it requires energy. If you're constantly in a deficit or even just at maintenance, your body doesn't have the extra resources to dedicate to building new muscle tissue.
So getting lean and muscular isn't about starving yourself.
Not at all. It often requires strategic periods of being in a slight caloric surplus to actually build the muscle. Then maybe periods of cutting to reveal it. But you can't build significantly without that surplus energy. Your body needs fuel not just for the workout, but for the 23 hours outside the gym when the recovery and growth happen.
Okay, so sufficient calories is the foundation. What's the most critical component within those calories for muscle? Got to be protein, right?
Without a doubt, protein is the absolute building block. Think of it this way. For hypertrophy muscle growth, the rate of muscle protein synthesis, MPS, the building process, must consistently exceed the rate of muscle protein breakdown, MPB, the breaking down process.
And protein drives the synthesis side.
Protein provides the amino acids necessary to drive MPS. Without enough protein, that balance tips towards breakdown, or at best, stays neutral. Your gym efforts won't translate into new muscle mass.
So what are the specific protein targets we should aim for? Not just general health, but muscle gain.
Right, the numbers are higher than the standard recommendations for sedentary folks. General health might be around 0.8 grams per kilogram of body weight. But for muscle gain, research consistently shows athletes need more. We're talking 1.2 to 2.0 grams per kilogram of body weight daily.
1.2 to 2.0 kilograms. That's a significant jump.
It is. And for those really pushing for maximum mass, think bodybuilders, serious strength athletes, they might even benefit from going up to 2.2 grams per kilogram.
Okay, let's make that real. If I weigh 70 kilos, what's my target range?
If you're 70 kilograms aiming for that 1.6 to 2.0 gigagram range, a good middle ground for serious trainees means you'd be looking at consuming around 112 to 140 grams of protein per day.
112 to 140 grams. Okay, and for someone heavier, say 200 pounds.
200 pounds is about 91 kilograms. So a high-level athlete at that weight might target closer to 182 grams of protein daily, using that 2.0 g kilogram figure. These are substantial amounts. You generally don't hit them by accident. Planning is key.
That's a lot of chicken breast. Does it matter when or how we eat all that protein throughout the day?
Yeah.
Can I just have a massive protein shake at night?
While total daily intake is the most important factor, distribution does matter for maximizing the muscle building signal. The idea is to keep a relatively steady supply of amino acids available to your muscles.
So spread out?
Yeah, aim for roughly 3 to 4 meals or snacks throughout the day, each containing a decent dose of protein. A minimum of about 25 grams per feeding seems to be a good target to effectively stimulate muscle protein synthesis. Consuming these every, say, 5 to 6 hours helps maintain that positive protein balance.
Can you give an example of how that 200-pound lifter hitting 200 grams might structure their day?
Sure, they could aim for 4 meals, each with around 50 grams of protein. That's quite a lot per meal, though. Or, maybe more practically, 3 meals with 50 grams each, then a post-workout shake with 30 grams, and another protein-rich snack, like Greek yogurt or cottage cheese, with 20 grams.
Is there a limit to how much protein the body can actually use in one go?
There's debate on the exact upper limit, but it seems difficult for the body to effectively utilize much more than about 40 grams of protein for muscle building purposes in a single sitting. Plus, very large doses might cause digestive issues for some, so focusing on that 25-35 gram range per meal, maybe a bit more for larger individuals, and including protein snacks is a very practical and effective strategy.
Makes sense. So where should we get this protein? Quality and variety must be important.
Absolutely. You want to prioritize complete proteins. These contain all 9 essential amino acids, the ones your body can't make itself that are required for muscle repair and growth. Animal sources are typically complete. Meat like ground beef, around 28 g in protein per typical serving. Chicken breast, about 30 g. Fish like tuna can be up to 40 g. Dairy is great too. Eggs, 6 g each. Milk, 8 g per cup. Cottage cheese, 15 g per half cup. Greek yogurt, also around 15 g.
And what about plant-based folks? Can they get enough complete protein?
Definitely. The plant kingdom has excellent options. Soy products like tofu, tempeh, and edamame are complete proteins. Quinoa, around 9 g per cooked cup, and buckwheat are too. Other plant sources like lentils, 18 grams per cup. Beans, chickpeas, nuts, and seeds are protein powerhouses.
But many plant proteins are incomplete, right? Missing some essential amino acids.
Some are, yes. Things like almonds, oats, broccoli, lentils, peanuts, 8 grams per 2 BSP, pumpkin seeds, they're fantastic, healthy, protein-rich foods, but might be lower in one or more essential amino acids. The key is variety. By eating a range of different plant protein sources throughout the day, you can easily get all the essential amino acids your body needs. It's called protein combining, but you don't necessarily need to do it in the same meal, just over the course of the day.
Can you give us a visual? What might some high-protein plant-based meals look like?
Sure. Think a couple of peanut butter sandwiches on whole wheat bread, a big bowl of lentil soup or a hearty plant-based chili, a stir fry with plenty of tofu or tempeh and broccoli, or even something simple like spaghetti with plant-based meatballs. All easily pack a good protein punch.
Good examples. Now, protein is king, but we can't forget carbs and fats, right? They're not the enemy here.
Definitely not the enemy. They play absolutely critical roles. Carbohydrates are your body's preferred and most efficient fuel source for high-intensity exercise like weightlifting. They provide the quick energy needed for those hard sets.
And replenish glycogen stores afterward.
Exactly. Replenishing muscle glycogen after training is crucial for recovery and readiness for the next session. Healthy fats are vital too. They provide longer-lasting energy, are essential for producing hormones, including testosterone, which is important for muscle growth, and support overall cell function and health. It's about a balanced approach.
What about timing? Eating before and after workouts. Does it make a big difference?
It can certainly help optimize performance and recovery. Eating some carbs and protein before training ensures you have energy available and can help prevent muscle breakdown during the session.
Fueling the work.
Right. And eating afterwards, ideally within a couple of hours, helps kickstart the recovery process. It replenishes those glycogen stores we mentioned and provides amino acids to start repairing and rebuilding the muscle tissue.
What if you're short on time before a workout?
Easily digestible options are great. Things like a banana, some yogurt, maybe a small sports drink, or a piece of fruit. You don't need a huge meal right before you train.
Okay, let's circle back to plant-based diets for a sec. There's been a real shift, hasn't there? That old, weak vegan stereotype seems truly outdated.
Completely outdated, and frankly, just wrong. Building significant muscle and strength on a well-planned plant-based diet is absolutely possible and becoming increasingly common, even at elite levels. You even have icons like Arnold Schwarzenegger now advocating for reducing meat intake.
So the protein is there in plants. You just need to know where to look.
Exactly. Beans, peas, lentils, tofu, seitan, nuts, seeds. The options are abundant. It just requires a bit more planning, perhaps, to ensure you're hitting those protein targets and getting variety.
Are there any added advantages to a plant-centered diet for athletes beyond just ethics or environment?
There can be, yeah. Plant-based diets are typically very rich in micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, plus fiber, antioxidants, and phytochemicals. This can potentially lead to benefits like increased energy levels, possibly better blood flow, which means more oxygen and nutrients delivered to muscles, reduced inflammation, which could speed up recovery.
Reduced inflammation sounds key for recovery.
It can be. And some studies even suggest potential benefits for muscle efficiency. There was one fascinating study looking at nitrate-rich plants like beets and leafy greens that showed subjects bench pressing significantly more total weight.
Wow, 19% more. That's significant.
It suggests there might be performance benefits beyond just macronutrients. It's really a new era for understanding plant-based performance.
Fascinating. One last point on nutrition. Any special considerations for older adults trying to build or maintain muscle? We know muscle loss, sarcopenia, is a big issue with aging.
Yes, absolutely crucial considerations here. As we age, our bodies become somewhat less responsive to protein intake, a phenomenon called anabolic resistance. Muscle protein synthesis decreases naturally,
Leading to sarcopenia.
exactly, that loss of muscle mass and function. To combat this, research suggests older adults need a higher protein threshold per meal to maximally stimulate muscle protein synthesis. Aiming for 25-30 grams of high-quality protein per meal seems particularly important.
So spreading it out might be even more critical for them.
Yes, and potentially hitting a slightly higher amount per sitting. Also, the timing might be more critical. The window of opportunity to benefit from post-exercise protein seems to be shorter in older adults, meaning getting protein in relatively quickly after training could be more beneficial.
Any specific amino acids that are extra important?
Leucine. It's one of the branched-chain amino acids and a key trigger for muscle protein synthesis. Studies show that ensuring adequate leucine intake, often by choosing leucine-rich protein sources, can particularly help overcome that anabolic resistance in older populations.
So something like whey protein, which is high in leucine and fast digesting, might be particularly good for them post-workout.
Whey protein could be an excellent choice for older adults post-workout for exactly those reasons: fast digestion and high leucine content.
Great insights. Nutrition is clearly a massive piece of the puzzle. Okay, we've covered intelligent training and optimal fueling. Now let's tackle the world of supplements. This is a huge industry, billions of dollars, promising faster gains, bigger muscles. It's easy to get lost or, frankly, waste a lot of money.
It absolutely is, and it's crucial to approach supplements with the right mindset. So let's start with the core message. Supplements are meant to supplement your diet and training. They are not replacements.
Support, not magic.
Exactly. They cannot replace a solid nutrition plan built on whole foods and consistent, challenging resistance training. We always recommend a food-first approach.
Why food first? If a supplement provides the nutrient, isn't that enough?
Your body is generally better at absorbing and utilizing nutrients from whole food sources. Plus, whole foods provide a complex matrix of other beneficial compounds: fiber, vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients that you just don't get from an isolated supplement. Supplements are targeted. Food is holistic.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And there's a safety aspect too, isn't there? You mentioned the regulatory landscape earlier.
Yes, and it's a really important caveat. In many places, like the US with the FDA, supplement manufacturers don't need to prove their products are safe before they go to market.
That seems risky.
It is. It means the industry has unfortunately seen a rising number of products that are adulterated, contaminated with illegal or undeclared ingredients, things you really don't want to be putting in your body.
Okay, that's sobering. So, with that warning in mind, let's focus on what does have solid science behind it. The evidence-backed stars. Creatine always seems to top this list.
Creatine monohydrate, yes. It's probably the most extensively studied and consistently effective supplement for improving exercise performance and supporting muscle growth.
What exactly is it, and how does it work it? It's magic.
It's a naturally occurring compound, an amino acid derivative found mainly in your muscles. Your body produces some, and you get some from foods like red meat and fish. Supplementing allows you to saturate your muscle stores much more fully, increasing them by maybe 20–40%.
And what does having more creatine in the muscles do?
It plays a key role in energy production, specifically in regenerating ATP, which is the primary energy currency for short, explosive bursts of activity like lifting weights or sprinting. More creatine means you can regenerate ATP faster between sets.
Leading to better performance.
Yes. It enhances strength, power output, allows you to perform more reps at a given weight, and improves overall performance during high-intensity exercise. It can also pull more water into muscle cells, which itself can be an anabolic signal promoting growth. Plus, it might increase levels of hormones involved in growth, like IGF-1, and potentially reduce muscle protein breakdown.
That sounds pretty comprehensive. What about the loading phase people talk about? Is that necessary?
It's a common strategy to saturate your muscles quickly. Typically, you take a higher dose, like 20–25 grams per day, split into 4 or 5 smaller doses for about 5–7 days.
And then?
After loading, you drop down to a maintenance dose, usually 3–5 grams per day, to keep those stores topped up. However, loading isn't strictly necessary. You can just start with the maintenance dose of 3–5 grams daily. It will just take longer, maybe 3 to 4 weeks to fully saturate your muscles, but you'll get to the same place eventually.
Is creatine safe? Any side effects?
For healthy individuals, creatine monohydrate has an excellent safety profile, backed by hundreds of studies, some lasting up to 5 years, even with high doses. The most common reported side effects are usually mild, maybe some temporary water retention or bloating when you first start, and occasional gastrointestinal upset like nausea or diarrhea if you take too much at once, especially during loading.
What about kidneys? There used to be concerns there.
That's largely been debunked for healthy individuals. Your kidneys do process creatine metabolites, so if someone has pre-existing kidney disease or is at high risk, they absolutely should consult a doctor before using it and be monitored. But for healthy kidneys, current research shows standard doses are safe.
And stick with creatine monohydrate. Lots of fancy versions out there.
Monohydrate is the most studied, most proven, and usually the cheapest form. There's little compelling evidence that the more expensive forms offer significant advantages over good old monohydrate.
Good tip. Any differences for females using creatine? Hormones and all that?
That's an interesting area. Females naturally have lower baseline creatine stores, maybe 70–80% of male levels, and the metabolism might differ slightly. Stores can also fluctuate with hormonal changes like menstruation, pregnancy, or menopause.
So supplementation might be particularly beneficial.
It could be, yes. Research shows creatine improves strength, exercise performance, and muscle size in females, just as it does in males. There's even some emerging research on potential benefits for bone health, which is important. Dosing strategies are generally similar to males, but again, always best to chat with a healthcare provider.
Okay, creatine gets a big thumbs up. What about the other ubiquitous supplement? Protein powders.
Protein powders, whey, casein, soy, plant blends. Their main role is convenience. They make it easier to hit those high daily protein targets we talked about, especially if you struggle to get enough from whole foods alone, maybe due to appetite, time constraints, or preference.
So they're not inherently better than food protein.
Not necessarily better, no. They're a tool. Different types have different properties, though.
Like whey versus casein.
Right. Whey protein is derived from milk, digests very quickly, and is rich in essential amino acids, especially leucine. This makes it great for rapidly delivering amino acids to muscles, particularly around workouts, to kickstart muscle protein synthesis.
And there are different types of whey. Concentrate, isolate.
Yeah, whey concentrate is less processed, contains some fat and carbs, typically 29–89% protein. Isolate is more filtered, higher protein, 90% plus, very little fat or lactose. Hydrolysate is pre-digested, fastest absorbing, but often more expensive, and might not offer significant extra benefit for most people.
Okay, and casein.
Casein is the other main milk protein, but it digests much more slowly. It forms a gel in the stomach, leading to a slow, sustained release of amino acids over several hours. This makes it potentially beneficial for periods when you won't be eating for a while, like overnight, to help reduce muscle breakdown.
What about plant-based protein powders, like soy or pea?
Soy protein is a complete protein, and studies show it effectively stimulates muscle protein synthesis, too. Some research even suggests it might offer antioxidant benefits compared to whey. Pea, rice, hemp, and blends are also popular and effective plant-based options, especially when combined to ensure a complete amino acid profile.
How much protein powder should someone typically use?
It depends entirely on their total daily protein needs and how much they're getting from food. A typical serving is often 20–40 grams of protein. Using a scoop, around 20–30 real post-workout, is very common to aid recovery. But again, it should supplement, not replace, whole food protein sources.
Any key warnings for protein powders, aside from not replacing meals?
Well, some people might experience digestive issues depending on the type, lactose and whey concentrate, for example. And as we mentioned with creatine, individuals with significant kidney disease, particularly those on dialysis or with stage 3 or 4 CKD, should generally avoid high protein intakes, including powders, unless specifically advised by their doctor due to potential kidney stress.
Okay, so creatine and protein powders are the mainstays, with good evidence. What about the rest of the supplement aisle? There's so much stuff. Weight gainers, BCAAs, HMB, beta-alanines.
Yeah, now we get into territory with much more mixed, limited, or even negative evidence for muscle gain in healthy, active people.
Let's quickly run through some common ones. Weight gainers.
Basically just high-calorie powders, mostly carbs and sugar with some protein. They're designed for people who really struggle to eat enough calories, true hard gainers. Their benefit is purely the calories. There's no magic ingredient. Research is mixed on whether they actually help increase lean mass effectively in trained individuals compared to just eating more food.
Beta-alanine. I hear about that for reducing fatigue. Does it build muscle?
It primarily works by increasing muscle carnosine levels, which helps buffer acidity during high-intensity exercise, reducing fatigue and potentially improving performance. Some older studies suggested a possible small effect on lean mass, but a large 2022 review concluded it's unlikely to significantly improve body composition on its own. More research is needed on that front.
HMB. That's related to leucine, right?
Yes, hydroxymethylbutyrate is a metabolite of leucine. Some studies suggest it might help augment gains in muscle, strength, and lean mass, possibly by increasing protein synthesis and decreasing breakdown, especially in untrained individuals starting a program, or perhaps during periods of high stress or calorie restriction. Its benefits seem less pronounced, maybe even negligible, in well-trained individuals already adapted to lifting.
And branched-chain amino acids, BCAAs, leucine, isoleucine, valine. People sip on these during workouts all the time.
BCAAs are essential amino acids found abundantly in high-quality protein sources like meat, dairy, eggs, and even whey protein. While they play a role in muscle metabolism and might help reduce soreness or support immune function, the evidence for them directly increasing muscle mass when protein intake is already adequate is very weak or non-existent.
Why is that?
Because muscle protein synthesis requires all essential amino acids, not just the 3 BCAAs. If you're eating enough total protein, you're already getting plenty of BCAAs along with the other essential building blocks. Taking extra BCAAs on top is likely redundant for muscle growth. You're better off ensuring your total protein intake is sufficient from whole foods or a complete protein powder.
So save your money if your protein intake is good.
For muscle growth purposes, largely yes.
What about other things people push? Testosterone boosters, glutamine, nitric oxide boosters, ZMA.
Generally, for healthy, active individuals, the evidence for significant muscle gain from these is scarce or conflicting. Testosterone boosters might only help if someone has clinically low T levels. Things like glutamine, arginine, often in NO boosters, CLA, carnitine studies haven't consistently shown they boost muscle mass in trained people. ZMA, zinc, magnesium, vitamin B6 might help if you're deficient in those minerals, potentially supporting sleep or hormone levels, but direct effects on muscle growth or performance are not well established by independent research.
Okay, that clears up a lot. The focus should really be on creatine and ensuring adequate protein, potentially using powder for convenience.
That seems to be where the strongest evidence lies for supplementation supporting muscle gain.
And given the earlier warning about adulteration, that dark side of the industry, how serious is this risk with things like hidden steroids?
It's unfortunately quite serious, especially within the bodybuilding supplement niche. As we said, lack of pre-market approval opens the door. There have been documented cases of products containing unlisted anabolic steroids, sometimes designer steroids with unknown long-term effects, or even stimulants like methamphetamine analogs hidden in pre-workouts.
That's genuinely scary. Liver injury you mentioned.
Yes, bodybuilding supplements are now cited as the most common cause of drug-induced liver injury linked to herbal and dietary supplements. This is often due to those hidden steroids or sometimes high doses of other ingredients. There's also the issue of protein spiking, adding cheap fillers like non-protein nitrogen sources to artificially inflate the protein content measured by some tests.
So how can you, as a consumer, protect yourself?
Due diligence is key. Choose reputable brands that invest in third-party testing and certification. Look for seals on the packaging from independent organizations like NSF Certified for Sport, Informed Sport, or USP. These certifications verify that the product contains what the label says it contains, in the stated amounts, and has been tested for contaminants and banned substances.
Third-party testing. That's the takeaway.
It's your best bet for ensuring quality and safety in a loosely regulated market.
All right, we've got the training dialed in, the nutrition plan set, and we know which supplements might actually help. But all that hard work can be undermined if we neglect the fourth pillar, recovery. This isn't just about not feeling sore, is it?
Not at all. Recovery is absolutely critical. It's the period where the actual growth and adaptation happen. You break down muscle tissue during training. You rebuild it stronger during recovery. It's where the magic truly happens.
The unsung hero of growth.
Definitely. It's not just about muscles feeling better. It's your nervous system recalibrating, your energy stores replenishing, your hormones rebalancing, even your mind regaining focus for the next session. Proper recovery maximizes the benefits of everything else you're doing.
And if you neglect it,
You risk overtraining, injury, performance plateaus. Basically, you spin your wheels. You can train incredibly hard, eat perfectly, but without adequate recovery, you simply won't make optimal progress.
So what's the cornerstone of recovery?
Okay.
Got to be sleep, right?
Yeah.
Someone called it the greatest legal performance-enhancing drug.
That's a great quote, and it's absolutely true. Sleep is profoundly important, yet so often neglected. During deep sleep stages, your body releases the majority of its daily growth hormone, absolutely essential for muscle repair and regeneration.
Growth hormone released during sleep.
Okay. Plus, sleep helps regulate other crucial hormones like cortisol and testosterone, consolidates memory, which includes motor learning for your lifts, and supports immune function. It's your body's ultimate repair shop.
How much sleep are we talking? Is the old 8 hours still the gold standard?
For most adults, aiming for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep per night is the general recommendation and a really good baseline, especially if you're training hard. Some might need slightly more, some slightly less, but that range covers most people.
What happens if we consistently shortchange sleep? What's the real cost to our muscle-building goals, beyond just feeling groggy?
The cost is significant and multifaceted. Hormonally, sleep deprivation can wreak havoc. It tends to increase cortisol, a stress hormone that's catabolic, breaks down tissue, and can negatively impact the testosterone to cortisol ratio, shifting your body away from an anabolic state.
Even if total testosterone doesn't drop immediately.
Right. Studies on acute total sleep deprivation show complex hormonal changes. While total T might not plummet right away, the balance with cortisol is disrupted, and other growth factors like IGF-1 might be affected. Chronic sleep restriction is linked to lower testosterone levels over time, which could definitely hinder long-term muscle gains.
What else? Inflammation. Motivation.
Yes, poor sleep can increase inflammatory markers, hindering recovery. It also significantly impacts cognitive function, mood, and motivation. If you're sleep deprived, you're less likely to push hard in the gym, your technique might suffer, and your perception of effort goes up. It makes training feel harder and less effective.
It's a real saboteur then. How can we optimize our sleep? Create that perfect sleep sanctuary?
Consistency is king. Try to go to bed and wake up around the same time every day, even on weekends. This helps regulate your body's natural sleep-wake cycle, your circadian rhythm.
Environment matters too.
Hugely. Make your bedroom cool, ideally around 64 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 Celsius dark. Use blackout curtains if needed. And quiet. Keep stimulating electronics out of the bedroom if possible. The bed should be for sleep and intimacy, not work or scrolling.
What about pre-bed habits?
Wind down. Avoid caffeine and alcohol in the hours leading up to bed. Nicotine, too. These disrupt sleep architecture. Instead, incorporate calming activities, reading a physical book, gentle stretching, meditation, a warm bath. Signal to your body that it's time to power down.
Any nutritional tricks for nighttime recovery? You mentioned casein earlier.
Yeah, having a slow-digesting protein source like casein found in milk, cottage cheese, or casein powder before bed can provide a sustained release of amino acids overnight. This can help minimize muscle breakdown and support recovery while you sleep. Even some whey protein could be beneficial for providing those initial building blocks.
So sleep is paramount. But recovery isn't always about complete stillness, is it? What about active recovery?
Good point. Active recovery is low-intensity movement done on rest days or after a hard workout. Think gentle activities like walking, light cycling, swimming, or yoga.
What's the benefit?
It promotes blood flow to the muscles, which can help deliver nutrients, clear out metabolic waste products faster, and potentially reduce muscle soreness and stiffness. It keeps you moving without adding significant stress. Think of it as a way to reset without slamming on the brakes completely. Aim for short, easy sessions, maybe 20 minutes.
Makes sense. How does mental stress fit into this recovery picture? Does being stressed out impact physical gains?
Massively. Chronic stress is a huge impediment to recovery and overall health span. When you're stressed, your body pumps out cortisol. As we mentioned, cortisol is catabolic, counteracting muscle growth. It can also disrupt sleep, suppress immune function, and negatively impact digestion and nutrient absorption.
So managing stress is part of the muscle building plan.
It absolutely has to be. If your nervous system is constantly in fight or flight mode, your body prioritizes survival over building bigger biceps. Incorporating stress management practices is crucial. Mindfulness, meditation, deep breathing exercises, spending time in nature, hobbies you enjoy, whatever works for you to keep cortisol in check.
It's all connected. Okay, besides sleep and stress management, any other practical recovery tools or habits?
Simple things add up. Always include a proper warm-up before training, maybe 10 minutes, to prepare your muscles and nervous system. And a cool down afterwards, another 10 minutes of lighter activity and stretching, can help kickstart the recovery process.
And rest between sets, as we discussed in training.
Crucial for intra-workout recovery, yes. And then there are tools like foam rollers or massage guns. These can help release muscle tightness, improve blood flow locally, and reduce perceived soreness. Regular stretching routines also help maintain flexibility and potentially aid recovery.
Lots of tools in the recovery toolbox. We've covered training, nutrition, supplements, and recovery. That brings us to our final pillar, lifestyle. Because truly sustainable gains aren't just about isolated actions, they're embedded in your overall way of living.
Absolutely. This is where everything comes together. You can nail the other pillars, but if certain lifestyle habits are working against you, progress will be slower, harder, or might even stall completely.
What are some big lifestyle hindrances we should be aware of? Things that actively prevent muscle growth or limit gym performance?
Well, smoking is a big one. It impairs lung function, obviously, limiting your workout capacity, but it also constricts blood vessels, reducing blood flow and nutrient delivery to muscles, which can hinder growth and recovery.
Okay, smoking is out. What about alcohol?
Excessive alcohol consumption is another major roadblock. It can dehydrate you, disrupt sleep patterns profoundly, interfere with protein synthesis, potentially lower testosterone levels, and impair judgment and coordination, increasing injury risk. A little bit occasionally might be okay for some, but heavy or frequent drinking will definitely impact your progress.
So achieving fitness goals really requires looking at the bigger picture, a holistic lifestyle change.
Exactly. It's not just about compartmentalizing gym time and meal time. The choices you make throughout the day, managing stress, staying hydrated, avoiding detrimental habits, all contribute to your body's ability to adapt, recover, and grow.
That leads to another crucial lifestyle aspect, patience and realistic expectations. Building muscle isn't an overnight thing, is it? Especially after the initial phase.
Oh, patience is perhaps the most underrated virtue in fitness. Building significant muscle is a slow process, especially once you're past the beginner stage. Those rapid newbie gains happen because your body is adapting quickly to a new stimulus. But that rate of gain inevitably slows down.
So what are realistic expectations for someone who's been training consistently for a while? Assuming they're not using steroids, of course.
For an average, experienced natural lifter who's doing things right, gaining maybe 4 or 5 pounds, that's about 2 kilos of primarily lean muscle in a month, would be fantastic progress.
4 or 5 pounds a month, okay.
And for someone who's genetically less responsive, a hard gainer, maybe aiming for 2 pounds or about 1 kilo of muscle gain per month is more realistic. That could translate to maybe 10, 12 solid pounds or around 5, 6 kilos of muscle in a full year, which is actually incredible progress.
So it's really about playing the long game. Thinking in months and years, not days and weeks.
Precisely. Forget frantically chasing the next miracle program or supplement. Settle in, find a sustainable approach you enjoy, track your progress over the long haul, and appreciate the journey. Consistency over time is what builds an impressive physique, not quick fixes.
Is there any upside for those hard gainers? Does it balance out anywhere?
Interestingly, yes, there's a potential silver lining. Research suggests that individuals who gain muscle more slowly also tend to lose it more slowly during periods of detraining or time off. Their hard-earned gains seem to be a bit more resilient.
That's somewhat comforting. Okay, final point on lifestyle. Given all this complexity, training variables, nutrition, timing, supplements, recovery strategies, it can feel overwhelming. When should someone consider seeking professional guidance?
Honestly, seeking guidance can be beneficial at almost any stage, but especially if you feel stuck, confused, overwhelmed, or you're just not seeing the results you expect despite your efforts. Building muscle effectively requires focus, intention, time, and dedication.
Who should they look for?
A registered dietitian or a qualified sports nutritionist can be invaluable for creating a personalized eating plan tailored to your body, goals, and preferences. On the training side, a certified personal trainer, strength coach, or even a sports medicine physician or physical therapist can help design a safe and effective exercise program, ensure proper form, and help you navigate injuries or limitations.
So getting personalized help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a smart investment.
Absolutely. It's about efficiency and effectiveness. Experts can help you cut through the confusion, avoid common pitfalls, create realistic goals, and adjust your plan based on your individual progress and feedback. It can save you a lot of time, frustration, and potential injury in the long run.
Wow, what a comprehensive deep dive. We have truly unpacked the blueprint for building muscle smarter, not just harder. We started with those intelligent training strategies, the bedrock of progressive overload, finding that intensity and volume sweet spot, mastering tempo, strategic rest, and smart workout splits.
Then we moved into the crucial role of nutrition, the fuel for growth. Emphasizing eating enough calories, hitting those specific protein targets, maybe 1.6 to 2.2 grams per kilogram, and leveraging the power of both high-quality animal and diverse plant-based foods.
We navigated the often confusing world of supplements, highlighting the proven benefits of creatine and the convenience of protein powders, while urging caution and critical thinking around the many others with less evidence, and stressing the importance of third-party testing for safety.
And we underscored the absolutely critical, non-negotiable role of recovery, championing sleep as your body's prime repair time, exploring active recovery, managing stress, and utilizing practical tools to help the process along.
Finally, we tied it all together with lifestyle, the importance of healthy habits, the necessity of patience and setting realistic goals for that slow but steady progress, and recognizing when professional guidance can be a powerful catalyst for your journey.
You know, it's really fascinating when you lay it all out, like this is how interconnected it all is. Training, nutrition, supplements, recovery, lifestyle, each pillar is powerful on its own, sure. But the real magic, the synergy, happens when they all work together consistently over time.
Muscle isn't just built in the gym.
Not at all. It's made in the bedroom with sleep, it's fueled in the kitchen with smart choices, and yes, it's stimulated in the gym with progressive, intelligent training. But zooming out, thinking bigger picture, this isn't just about aesthetics or lifting heavier weights.
It's about health span, longevity.
Exactly. Building and maintaining muscle mass is profoundly linked to long-term health, functional independence, metabolic health, and overall longevity. Strength and longevity truly go hand in hand. And that bridge connecting consistent effort with long-term health, it's built with recovery. Smart, dedicated recovery.
So the final thought for everyone listening. What's the actionable takeaway? Where should they start?
Start small, but start now. Pick just one thing from our deep dive today. Just one. Maybe it's meticulously tracking your protein for a week to see if you're actually hitting that 1.6 GJ/kg target. Maybe it's committing to adding just 30 minutes more sleep opportunity each night. Maybe it's focusing intensely on that 2-4-second negative on every single rep of your next workout.
One specific action.
One specific, manageable action this week. Commit to it, because ultimately your health, your strength, your vitality, that's your shield in life. Protect it. Invest in it. Give your body and mind the stimulus and the recovery they need to not just survive, but to truly recharge, rebuild, and thrive.